All right, what is going on, everybody? It finally happened. Reported by ESPN's Shams Charania um, last month on the 28th. The Sixers have shut down Joel Embiid and has been ruled out for the rest of the season. It finally happened. I've been talking about it for maybe a month and a half now that they should just shut him down. He's not doing anything positive for them at this moment in his current condition. And yeah, it happened. Nobody was shocked that it happened. I do want to talk about in this video specifically about Joel Embiid. I'm gonna save my Sixers rant for the end of the year. Uh, Month left of basketball, maybe a couple weeks left, so won't have to wait too long for that video. But I do just want to focus on Joel Embiid because I think it's so important um, that we talk about how we got here. And whenever stuff like this happens, or a trade happens, or whatever, for a cornerstone of a franchise, I like to think and I like to see how we got here, um, the good and the bad. We'll start with the good. Um, Joel Embiid, drafted in 2014, so he's a decade of NBA experience essentially. Um, he's a seven-time All-Star, a two-time scoring champ, five-time All-NBA, three-time All-Defensive Team, and he was the 2022-2023 MVP. Um, and to preface this whole conversation, um, I was a really big Joel Embiid fan. I had a lot of conversations, a lot of arguments with people in the past. Um, I think right before he won his first MVP and even right after, that Joel Embiid was better than Nikola Jokic. The guy on your screen on the left, um, the three-time MVP now, and Joel Embiid, what it seems like now, will only be a one-time MVP. I was having conversations with people that like Joel Embiid was better. He was, and he did a lot of things great. If we look at that 2022-2023 season, um, let me pull it up here. 2022-2023, 33 points a game, his highest benchmark in points as an NBA player. Um, Rebounds 10, assists 4, one almost two blocks a game, one steal a game. His um his 3-point percentage was down that year. He has shot better, but that was the second most amount of games he's played um, that year, 2022-2023. And his field goal was this is the best of his career. His overall 2-point field goal was the best of his career overall, um, at 58%, which is crazy. And he played 34 minutes, and that was the most minutes he played of his career as well. Um, and through all this time, all the way in 2018, all the way up to 2023, 2024, he was an all star. He didn't miss a year. This was the first time he had missed a year being an all star since his rookie year back in 2016, 2017. He was drafted in 2014, 2015. He didn't play that season, and he didn't play the 2015, 2016 season either. So he missed 2 years. He's been in the NBA for more than a decade, but he's only been playing for around a decade. Back to my original love of Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, when he's right, was just such a marvel to watch. He was he could get it at all three levels, depending on the coach he had, which he has had a lot of coaches. Um, he's had a fair a fair amount of them, um, three to be exact. Depending on the coach's coaching scheme, he's shot the ball better. He's been able to get more assists. That's purely off scheme and purely off feel and where he gets posted up around the paint. Um, and he was really good. And the conversation between him and Jokic is really they're both offensive um, minded guys. But what really pushed Joel over the top for me was his defense. When he was right in his MVP year, like I said, almost two blocks, one steal a game. That was a difference to me. That was really the difference to me. And to see him the last couple years, last 2 years specifically, after this MVP run, he just hasn't looked right. He's never looked right since that MVP year. He looks slow. He looks out of shape. And I say all these things um, critically, I guess, because it's the truth. And I can't say, oh, well, he was actually in shape. No, he was out of shape. But the problem for Joel is he can never be in shape because he's always injured. And when you're injured, especially when it's lower extremities, your legs, your ankle, your feet, um, you can't stay in shape. So you nurse the injury and then you have to get back in shape. And that's the hardest part is once you've recovered from the injury is getting back in shape. And your team is counting on you as the cornerstone of the franchise to come back in a timely manner. And he was just never able to do that again. Um, when he was in shape, he was the MVP. I'm gonna go back here. Um, this is a I found this article by Sporting News and what's this guy's name? Gilbert McGregor on February 28th, 2025 was the last time it was updated. Um, it's just a list of his injuries dating back to his draft, his draft year, 2014. And just to look through all this stuff, just to look through all this stuff, like I'm not gonna read through all of this, but like when he started playing, I have to look at it again. Um, 2016, 2017, right? So 2016, 2017, we'll ignore all the stuff before. So 2017, I'm going to read you some of the stuff that he's just gone through in his career. Um, aggravated left knee. This is in 2017. This is starting in 2017. I'm going canonically. I'm going in order. Um, aggravated his left knee. Um, left knee swelling. Swelling again. Um, meniscus in his left knee. Um, 2016, 2017. Collision. Fractured his orbital bone in 2018. Um, broke his finger in 2020. Awkward fall and suffered a partially torn meniscus. Um, well, pandemic stuff. We won't go into 2021. Tears a ligament in his left thumb, in his right thumb. Pardon me. Caught an elbow in 2022 from Pascal Siakam. Um, this was the one. This was the one that. This is the one that that sent it. On January 30th in 2024, um, an awkward play leads to Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga falling on Joel Embiid's left knee. It is revealed that Embiid suffered a torn lateral meniscus on that play and that it would require surgery. This is the one. This is the same knee that he's dealing with right now. All the way back in January, almost a year later. Oh, yeah, a year later essentially, yeah. And he just can't get it right. And he's been playing on this thing, and he had the whole summer, but this summer in particular, this last summer, he decided to play for Team USA. Right, was a big part in the final game. Up until that point, I have his stats right here for Team USA when he played this summer, when he clearly was not healthy, and he probably shouldn't have played. Um, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. Those were his numbers for the Olympics. Overall, those were his averages. He just shouldn't have played. Like we needed him as Team USA, but man, they he literally only had one good game, and that was against Serbia, and that was against Nikola Jokic, the guy on your screen on the left. That was his only good game. Yeah, 20 points, 50. Was this? Oh, that's a plus minus. Da da da. Um, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, and we can get into that too. I don't know why the Sixers let him play in the Olympics. if they knew he wasn't healthy, if they knew his knee wasn't right. And again, I'm not going to dive too deep into the Sixers. I want to talk about Joel Embiid, but it's sort of, what do they call it? Like there has to be, it's like dangerous. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's just reckless to let a guy like him who has an injury history go out there in the summer when he should be resting, when he should just be practicing. He shouldn't be playing competitive basketball and let him rest. I'm not saying this whole season, this NBA season wouldn't have happened if he didn't play in the Olympics, but I'm saying the chance of it being this bad probably wouldn't be where we are right now, if that makes sense. Um, I think it's very careless of. We'll get into it. Not just the Sixers as a whole; it's an individual people within the organization that signed off on this and signed off on a bunch of other things that Joel Embiid has suffered from. You know, because at the end of the day, you can only do so much as a player. You know, you want to be out there for your team. Your team is your family. You want to, you don't want to let them down, but like the people upstairs sometimes don't care. You know, and we'll get into that. But to quickly circle back, um, Joel Embiid and the Sixers have had a decade together now, right? And their best season, going through right now, was 2022-2023. They finished the season 54 and 28. That's wins and losses. And they got bounced in the conference semifinals. And that was Doc Rivers last year as the 76ers coach. That was their best finish, and it's probably not going to get any better than that for a while. Unless Joel Embiid makes a miraculous recovery. That's their best season in the Joel Embiid era. And just to dive into this season a little bit. This season, he's 23 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Um, his game logs, his game logs this year do not look good. Um, I'm looking for his best game here. Okay. His best game was against Portland, and they won that game surprisingly. 37 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers. 12 for 21, um, and took and 13 free throws. And that was on Monday. That was the. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this exact day. So yeah, his best game was was technically last year. He didn't have another 30-point outburst. He got close a couple times, and then obviously, like I said at the top, they shut him down. But that was his last good game. Um, that was in Portland too. That wasn't in Philadelphia. That was in Portland. And if you just look at these percentages and these stat lines, they look sloppy. They look like he wasn't healthy. I mean, some of them are okay, some of them are passable, but a lot of them are just not what you expect of Joel Embiid, especially being one of the most efficient from mid range in the past couple years. Um, I just think it's super unfortunate. Um, and I'm gonna pull up a quote here for everybody. Um, this is from Stephen A. Smith of ESPN, and I quote: "There are rumors that Josh Harris was very reluctant to sign Joel Embiid to this extension. Daryl Morey, their GM, was the one who said we got to do it. If that's the truth, Daryl Morey is in a world of trouble." This is also true. Um, Daryl Morey is in a world of trouble. For those who do not know, Joel Embiid signed a 5-year deal about 2 years ago, so there's 3 years left on it, right? Um, and there's a player option at the end of it. I'm going to read you some numbers here. Next year, 2026, 2027, he's going to make $59 million. He'll be 32. In 2027, 2028, he'll make $64 million. He'll be 33. And this is the last year. This is the player option. And I guarantee he's going to take this player option because you're never going to see this type of money again. He's going to make $69 million at the age of 34 in 2028, 2029 at the end of the decade, for a total of $192 million, almost a $200 million contract for a guy in his career who has never played more than 70 games. He's the MVP, but he's never played more. He was the MVP a couple years ago, but he's never played more than 70 games. In a league where, and in a time where players don't play 70 plus games. But when the team relies on you so much as a hub of offense, you need to be playing a lot. We'll dip into the Daryl Morey stuff a little bit here, and other people surrounding the organization a little bit because I think it's important. Joel Embiid has had help. It's not like he's been stuck in Philadelphia by himself for a long time. Just off the top of my head, he's had. Let's work our way backwards. He's had James Harden. He's had Jimmy Butler. He's had Ben Simmons. He's had decent role players too. He has Paul George. That's this year. Um, he's had a bunch of good teammates, and granted, some of them have been up and down. Especially, we can talk about Paul George another time this season, but they really they've tried to help him. I'll give him that. They've tried. It's a two-way street though. When I bring in guys to win a championship and make a deep playoff run, I need you to be available. I need you to be healthy. And granted, that might be my fault. I'm talking as the Sixers for letting you play, overexerting you. Maybe we should have rested you more. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. When things get this bad, there's really no there's no like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry your knee's messed up. You messed up the guy's knee, you know? You messed up his knee. Um and the final thing I want to read, or at least report or comment on. Um this is brought to you by Brian Windhorst of ESPN. Um the 76ers doctors, the staff, the medical staff, are reportedly playing Operation on Joel Embiid. That was reported the same day as Shams reported um, his report that they were shutting him down. The other thing I forgot about this one. Um, if Joel Embiid, this is from reportedly, this is rumors, this is hearsay. Um, I don't even have a source for this. It's just things coming out of thin air at this point. The 76ers could petition for a medical retirement for Joel Embiid if he is unable to play a year from now. So this time next year, if he can't play, the Sixers might just try to have him medically retire. That's how bad it is. Yeah, that's how bad it is. And the Sixers really went all in um, on this year, and I truly believe that if everything went according to plan, the Sixers wouldn't have had a bad season. Would they have challenged Boston? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I haven't seen enough of Paul George and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Some nights they look really good. Some nights they just look like a team that has just confused. And the crazy thing is, and I said this in a previous video, is that when when it's just one of them, when it's just Maxey or Paul, or I don't think it was ever just Joel, but when it was one of those two and it was the role players, this team played hard. They were playing really hard. They the last couple. Let me pull up their schedule actually. The last couple. Um, the last couple games, they've had some surprising wins against good teams. Like they've had some bad losses, but they've had some surprising wins. I'll pull it up for you here. They've been on a huge losing streak recently, but they beat Dallas on February 4th. They beat Cleveland. They beat Los Angeles. Um, they beat Boston right at the beginning of right at the end of the physical year in 2024. Um, they beat okay, that's the end of it. I thought they won a little bit more than that, but like there's potential there, and you could say, "Oh, these are one-off games, whatever, whatever." But if they had their full team, I genuinely think you win one game against one of these heavy hitters, it builds momentum, and I think that's what this team really needed. And they wanted to build some good momentum this year because again they signed Paul George to a 5-year deal, so you were committed to this for at least for the next three, and then hey, Joel isn't healthy, he retires right at 34. I read you his contract right at 34, right? Sure, you're stuck with Paul George. Not really. Maybe he had a couple good years. This is all theoretical. He has 2 years left on his deal. You can flip him and trade him again. You know what I mean? So like they were going all in, and it's just an unfortunate. It's a really unfortunate year, and it's a really unfortunate year for Joel Embiid because of the heights he reached. And people have said he's not going to be remembered 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I don't believe that, but I think he's forever just going to be one of the biggest what ifs. He's going to be up there with like Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, um, Yao Ming. Just these are great players I'm naming, but they never reached their potential. And Joel Embiid has never. I think he reached his potential, but I don't think he reached his best years in Philadelphia, if you know what I mean. Like individually as a player, he always had it. He always had it, but he could never he could never translate it in the playoffs, and he could never get it together, get a full season together. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's it. I'm going through my tabs right now. I think I went through everything I wanted to get through here. Um, but yeah, that's Joel Embiid and the Joel Embiid news. I I should probably give my opinion. Do I think Joel Embiid's going to be healthy this time next year? They're saying all sorts of things. They're saying like they're going to do experimental. This sounds crazy. It sounds like a monster movie. They're going to do experimental surgeries on him. Like they're considering like things that have never been done before to help try to fix his knee. Um, I as a former fan of Joel Embiid and not so much of a fan anymore, not because he's been injured, but because he's just been usurped by Jokic. Jokic won. Um, and I think oh man, this is so tough. I don't think I don't want to say because it's so bad to like theorize about the end of a guy's career because he can't be healthy, but I don't think he's gonna be healthy. I think this is it. Um, yeah, this might be it because, like I said at the top, he can't. He's a big guy. He's a big guy, just tall. He's a tall guy, and he's had trouble keeping weight off. And the thing about the thing about his weight is that it's usually to his advantage. So he can overpower guys. He can move guys in the post. But if he does, if he's gonna come back in any capacity, he's gonna need to lose the weight because if his knee is fucked up now, I can't imagine if he does anything if he tweaks it again if he comes back. So I think it's just a matter of does he want to come back? Can he change his body to at least buy 2, 3 more years? And if he doesn't, it's probably over for Joel. Um, I think the weight is a huge problem because when you're injured again, you have to nurse that injury. You're not worried about keeping the weight off this. You might lose weight or you might gain it. It's different for everybody. Some people lose weight depending on the injury. Some people gain weight because you're just sitting around doing nothing and you're only rehabbing that thing. And rehab is just it's small incremental steps. It's moving your knee a little bit, then it's getting full range of motion back, then it's walking on it, then it's this, then it's that, and that takes months upon months upon months. And time is not your friend in the NBA. The NBA will move fast and it will move right past you. And it will just become the question, oh, is Joel Embiid coming back? Is Joel Embiid coming back? When's Joel Embiid coming back? And it might just end up one day, might not ever come back. And that's the sad truth of it. And yeah, as a former Joel Embiid fan, I think it's important to realize that his health has never been the best. This is probably the worst case scenario, though. Genuinely, just this is the worst case scenario for him. Um, Early 30s, and just it never gets better from here. So I think it's just it's up in the air, but I don't think he's coming back. I think this might be it. I think he might try to come back. He might attempt it. I'll tip my hat off if he actually makes an attempt and he's in shape. He's lost some weight. He's changed his game a little bit. And his knees at least 80%. Um, but I don't think if it's just not worth it, it's just not worth it. And now I'm just rambling, so I will stop. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I didn't say like, comment, subscribe at the beginning, but like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel and everything. And yeah, I think I'll just give my. I was gonna give some predictions, but I'll just do it in the community tab. So, if you want to see my predictions for this week's games, just check out the community tab. And yeah, thank you for watching. Cheers.